Nvidia just announced a laptop chip, and the internet is angry. The comments are full of the same reaction. Overpriced, bad value. You can buy a faster gaming laptop for less money. And on the surface, that anger makes complete sense. Analyst estimates put these machines somewhere between $1,800 and nearly $3,000. For that kind of money, a traditional gaming laptop will absolutely destroy it in frame rates. But here's the thing. Nvidia built this chip knowing exactly how those comparisons would look. They saw the same numbers, they ran the same benchmarks, and they shipped it anyway, which means either Nvidia made a very expensive mistake in front of the entire industry at Computex 2026, or gaming was never the point. This is the RTX Spark, and the real story behind why it exists is a lot more interesting and a lot more consequential for the future of Windows laptops than any benchmark comparison is going to tell you. Chapter 1. What the RTX Spark actually is. Before anything else, the naming is genuinely confusing and already causing problems across the internet, so let us clear it up immediately. There are three specific Nvidia terms with similar names right now. First, there is the N1 and N1X, the actual physical chip, the engine that powers everything. Second, there is the RTX Spark, the consumer laptop and compact desktop platform running Windows. And third, there is the DGX Spark, a completely separate product, a small desktop AI workstation running Linux aimed strictly at developers and data scientists. Same silicon family, completely different products for completely different buyers. Several tech publications have already mixed them up. Now you will not. The RTX Spark laptop is built in partnership with MediaTek on TSMC's 3nm process, ARM-based CPU cores, a Blackwell GPU with the same CUDA core count as a desktop RTX 5070, though not running at those same power levels inside a thin laptop chassis, and up to 128 gigabytes of unified memory shared between the processor and graphics. That last number is where the real story starts. Early benchmarks suggest the CPU trades blows with an Intel Core Ultra 9 in multi-core workloads, and the GPU sits roughly between Apple's M5 Pro and M5 Max in creative tasks. These are preliminary numbers from early samples, not final retail silicon, not independent review units. The final numbers may shift. The architecture will not, and the architecture is everything here. Chapter 2. The Windows laptop that no longer belongs to you. For decades, the deal with Windows laptops was straightforward. You owned the machine completely. If you needed more memory next year, you bought a RAM stick and slotted it in. If a component failed, you replaced it for $30. That flexibility was real, and it was the reason millions of people chose Windows over Apple in the first place. The RTX Spark ends that deal permanently for every machine that runs it, because the CPU, GPU, and memory are fused into one unified package. The RAM is physically part of the chip, no slot, no upgrade path. A machine shipping with 64 gigabytes cannot become a 128 gigabyte machine later. What you buy at the store is what you live with for the entire life of the laptop. And if a memory fault develops after the warranty expires, you are not replacing a cheap component. You are replacing the entire board at a cost that often rivals buying a new machine outright. Nvidia did not secretly solder the memory to trap anyone. The unified architecture makes upgrades impossible by design. The same trade-off that exists in every Apple Silicon Mac. The difference is that on Windows, this approach was always the exception. With RTX Spark, it is becoming the template, and the OEM partners already signed on are not small players. Asus, Dell, HP, Lenovo, Microsoft Surface, MSI all announced RTX Spark devices at Computex 2026. This is not a niche experiment. This is where premium Windows laptops are heading, and the companies building them have already decided. Chapter 3. Why Nvidia really built this. Here is where the pricing that makes no sense for gaming starts making a completely different kind of sense. This move was impossible 18 months ago. Qualcomm held an exclusivity arrangement with Microsoft for Windows on ARM. The moment that exclusivity expired, Nvidia walked through the door with MediaTek and announced RTX Spark at the first available Computex. That timing is not a coincidence. That is a company that had been waiting with a very specific plan. The first reason is local AI. The 128 gigabytes of unified memory in the top RTX Spark configuration lets the chip load and run large language models directly on the device, without a cloud connection, without latency, without data leaving the machine. Most consumer GPUs cannot do this. A standard laptop GPU with 8 or 16 gigabytes of VRAM hits a hard ceiling quickly when running serious AI workloads locally. 128 gigabytes does not hit that ceiling. This is what Nvidia keeps pointing at in every conversation about this product. Not frame rates, memory capacity for AI. The second reason is CUDA. Nvidia's software layer that powers essentially all modern AI development runs natively on RTX Spark. Developers who build AI applications on CUDA, which is most of them, can now prototype on the same platform they deploy to at scale. And once developers build on CUDA, they stay on CUDA. The ecosystem lock-in extends from data centers into the developer's bag. That long-term platform control is worth more to Nvidia than any individual hardware sale will ever be. The third reason is Microsoft. Microsoft is rebuilding Windows around what they call agentic AI, software agents running locally on your device, handling tasks autonomously without cloud dependency. To run those agents properly, the hardware needs serious local AI compute and serious memory. RTX Spark is the halo device for that entire vision. Microsoft co-announced it and is shipping a Surface on it. These are not companies that accidentally end up on stage together at a moment like this. Nvidia built a Trojan horse. It looks like an overpriced gaming laptop from the outside. From the inside, it is a portable AI workstation designed to extend Nvidia's data center dominance onto your desk, and to ensure that when local AI becomes the standard computing experience, the software running it is CUDA, and the hardware enabling it carries an Nvidia logo. Chapter 4. Who this is actually for. The people calling this overpriced are not wrong about gaming. For frame rates, the value calculation genuinely does not work. A dedicated gaming laptop at this price will outperform it in the scenarios gaming laptops are built for, full stop. But they are reviewing the wrong product. The RTX Spark is for the developer who needs 128 gigabytes of local memory to run a model that simply does not fit on any conventional consumer GPU. It is for the creator whose workflow depends on CUDA-accelerated tools and wants that acceleration in a thin, portable machine that lasts through a full working day without hunting for an outlet. It is for the AI engineer who needs to prototype locally on the same hardware stack they eventually deploy to. For those users, the price looks different, not cheap, but defensible in a way that no gaming comparison will ever capture honestly. What this machine should be evaluated as is the first serious attempt to bring data center class local AI capability to a portable Windows device. That is a genuinely new thing. The price reflects that reality. Whether that capability is worth the permanent trade-off, no upgrades, no modularity, a sealed machine tied to one architecture forever, is a question only the buyer can answer for themselves. And this is the pattern worth paying attention to beyond just this one product. The modular, upgradable Windows laptop, the machine you fully owned, could open, improve, and repair, is losing ground fast. Not just from Apple's influence anymore, now from Nvidia's ambition as well. The sealed, unified architecture Apple pioneered is arriving on Windows backed by the company that controls the software layer powering the entire AI revolution. That trade, unprecedented local AI power in exchange for permanent lock-in, is the real subject of this announcement. And whether you think it is a fair trade says everything about what you actually value in a laptop. If you want to understand exactly which features are disappearing from Windows laptops right now and what it is going to cost you, we already broke that down in full. That one is worth watching before your next laptop purchase.